off your clothes, blow out the fire. Don't be so shy, you're right, you're right. Take off my clothes, oh bless me, Father. Don't ask me why, you're right, you're right. On my stair, I'm in command. Do you feel my heat?
Hello, nice to meet you.
So I've got a few questions for you. You've had a very interesting career, a sportswoman, fashion model, and now a singer. So how would you describe the course of your career?
You know, I think I've been a very lucky girl. I had a lot of strike of chance in my life, and you know, the way I started sports was, I was very lucky. I was just doing that in class, and then one day I was in a competition, and the national coach of high jump saw me and thought I had something, so he took me in his team. I was in the subway one day at the age of 17, and someone asked me, you know, scouted me as a model, and I said yes, you know. So I've been really lucky, and I was supposed to go to New York for 3 weeks for a job, and I decided to stay 7 years. So I think you know, every step of my life I had like little windows, and I just decided to take them, you know, and then by the age of like 25 I decided to be a singer, and it was a long process, but it was not too difficult, you know. I just worked really hard, and I got lucky again, you know.
Yeah, because a model's life and a singer's life seem quite different. So how has the fashion experience helped you in your career?
It helped me in the sense that I got to travel, and then I got to leave my hometown, my family, and be on my own and become an adult and a woman. And I lived in New York, and it was experience. It's just, you know, it gave me experience, and you know, the modeling life is very hard. You got to accept a lot of no's. You know, people say no to you a lot of time before they say yes, you know. So you have to deal with rejection, and it helped me, you know, being, you know, more of an adult, and realize that my dream were pretty, you know, maybe I could reach my dream if I worked, you know, hard enough.
On my skin, take off your clothes, blow out the fire. Don't be so shy.
Your music is described as a mix of acoustic folk and soul blues. How would you describe it yourself?
I don't, because, you know, I don't like putting my music in a box, you know, and it's true, it is acoustic, and there's blues and folk and pop, and, you know, sometimes there's even some hip-hop references. So it is eclectic, and it is whatever you think it is, but I don't describe it.
Okay. 3 of your albums gone platinum in Poland. How do you feel about performing in this country?
You mean 2 of my albums?
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Because the 3rd one just came out 2 days ago. I hope it's going to be platinum. I love to come here, you know. The first time I came in Poland, I remember really vividly, because I was so tired. I was sick, actually. I was coming for a very long tour, and it was my first time in Poland ever. And I knew the song was doing well, but I didn't realize how much, you know. And so I stepped on stage. It was at the Stodola.
Yes.
Yeah? So I stepped on stage, and everybody knew my song from the first to the last by heart. And it was such a shock, you know. And all of a sudden I was not tired anymore, you know. And here, I love to come here because the Polish fans are so generous, you know. They're so loyal too, you know. 5 years later, they're still here. So I love coming here.
Your stage name Imany means fate in Shwari. Why did you choose it, and what does fate means for you?
I chose it when I was a model, because my real name is Nadia.
Yes.
And there were too many Russian women called Nadia in the agency, and so they didn't want to call me Nadia number 4, you know, and so there was this movie called Coming to America. Do you know this movie? It probably was a different title in Poland. In Polish, yeah, it was with Eddie Murphy. He's an African prince, and he's going to New York.
So it was called Prince in New York.
Prince of New York.
Yes.
Yeah. So the princess he's supposed to marry her. I don't know if you remember in the movie. Her name is Imany, and I just loved that name so much when I was a teenager, and so I decided to call myself Imany.
So do you find it as a coincidence that it also means fate?
Yeah, it is a coincidence because I didn't know. I found out later. My mom told me, she's like, oh, do you know that it means faith? And I was like, I didn't know. I just like the name so much. Yeah.
So how has Africa influenced your life and music?
You know, my parents are from the Comores Islands. I was born and raised in France, but you know, the way I've been raised is Comorian. You know, of course I am French and I speak French and I went to school in France. But when I was home, you know, it was the Comores. So it is a part of me, and it influenced me in my everyday life, and it influenced me in the way that I feel the music. You know, but I don't go and think about it too much. Because it's like, for me, it would be like asking myself why, you know, why I have 2 legs and 2 arms. It's such a part of me, you know, that to me, I don't think about it too much.
Okay, because I think that it's a part of identity.
Yes.
So that's what I was interested.
It's part of my identity, of course, absolutely, because, you know, you look at me, you could tell, you know, I have African origins, you know, and it's such a part of me because I've been raised in an African Comorian mentality, and so I don't see myself any other way.
Okay, so what other things influence your work?
Many things. It could be my life, of course. It could be your life. You know, you tell me a story and it's, you know, and it's poignant and it's stuck with me, and I don't know, I want to write about it. Or it could be just the news on TV, and sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes just one word that comes from I don't know where, and I want to write a song about this, just one sentence that's just stuck in my head, you know, and then I start writing lyrics. So it could be anything.
Why do you choose to perform acoustically?
I love music, I love instruments, I love musicians, and I think it's a really good way to get to people's heart, you know, because it is very human, you know. Anybody that just play the guitar or, I don't know, play the piano, they use their body, they use their humanity to reach your humanity, and that's why I love acoustic, because it's so honest. It's really honest music.
I've read that you learn how to play the guitar during the acoustic tours. Is that right?
Yeah. 3.5 years ago or something. Yeah, I didn't play an instrument coming in this business. You know, I wrote songs just, you know, with my voice. My voice is my instrument. But I felt like, you know, I needed to learn an instrument to be completely independent, you know. And it's not easy. It's easy when you're a child, but when you're 30 plus like me, you know, it's harder.
So can you tell us a little bit about your latest album that has just been released?
It's called The Wrong Kind of War. It took us 3 years to do it. I wrote about 60 songs, and I kept 12 songs for the album, the one that worked the best together. It's about emancipation. It's about, you know, asking ourselves, what are we doing in this planet, you know, to make it better or worse. It's about, you know, personal responsibility for your own happiness, whether it's in love or it's just in society. And it's a much more positive album, even though when I talk about breakups, you know, I talk about breakups in a sense of liberation. You know, you're not in this bad relationship anymore. You can be free be happy with yourself first, and then maybe be happy with someone else. But it has to start with being happy with yourself, you know. So even the songs that sound kind of sad, they're not sad. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. So it's a more optimistic album, I think.
Yeah, there are always both sides of the...
There's always, yeah, the dark side and the bright side, and sometimes it is hard, and you got to go through the hard times in order to enjoy the good times, you know.
That's life.
That is life, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you also about, because your new album is entitled with the wrong kind of war, and what kind of war are you singing about?
Well, I'm mostly singing about the war that you have to fight, you know, for yourself, within yourself, to be better, to be a better person, you know, the inner war, you know, because it's a battle every day against our demons, you know. It's easy to give up, give in into the ego, you know, and blame the next guy for our own problems and stuff like that. So, because I think if we all had the courage to fight within ourselves to be better people, I don't think we would go and shoot the next guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
So that's the kind of war I'm talking about.
Okay. So what are your plans for the future?
Well, you know, the future, I have to defend this album, you know. I have a whole tour coming up this fall, the next spring, and the next fall. So I'm going to be pretty busy for the next year and a half, doing touring and promoting and all of that. And I also need to raise my little baby. I just had a baby.
Really? I
Yes.
didn't know about it.
Yes,
Congratulations.
he's 9 months, and it's hard to be on the road away for too long. But so yeah, those are my plans for the next year.
So I wish you as much luck as you had.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Imany, very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Why?